Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I'm going to show you and go through a game where I went 11-0-16 on OFFLANE TUSK. Yes, OFFLANE TUSK. This isn't a ranked game, a very high ranked game as well. I think the average of this game was somewhere between like 8,700 and 9K. And yeah, like everything, not everything went according to plan. I'm going to keep it real with you guys, but a lot went according to plan. And I'm going to show you how to do something similar, and let's get into it. By the way, guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the gameleap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. All right, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to be discussing is the laning stage. Now, this is a lane that's a bit difficult. I'm against a Quap Bane. It's just kind of these two, like, very strong laner ranged heroes, and I'm playing Tusk. And if you know anything about Tusk, he's not necessarily bad against these heroes when he can close the gap. The problem is, like, closing the gap as a melee hero early on into the lane is asking to get just destroyed by creeps and destroyed when you're disengaging, right? When you're running away. Because obviously you can't just chase them to their tier 3s. That, of course, doesn't work. So the main thing I think I sort of did wrong in this lane is I didn't put any priority on balancing out the equilibrium of the wave. So you'll see that the Quap instantly starts auto-attacking, even pulls aggro, and just like basically brings this creep into tower range and kills it quickly. Now what happens because of this is we have 3 and they have 4. So I basically can't trade. At least it's not nearly as favorable. I ended up taking some trade with the Bane. It wasn't horrible, but you can even see the creeps start hitting me, and the wave just sort of is constantly pushing into me and my IO. Ended up not being too bad of a trade overall, but you know, either way, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. I just wanted to bring that advanced idea to you guys. The next thing I wanted to talk about is not worrying about counters. What I mean by this is IO Tusk is like a stupid strong lane because basically you give the Tusk and you give the IO 50 attack speed, and then you click tag team and you auto attack. It's a very simple combo, but it's extremely powerful. Now, I can look at this lane and say, oh, this Bane has Nightmare. This Quap could have Blink, which in this case I actually knew she didn't because she used Dagger and Scream. And I could just never click tag team. This would be the wrong approach because I want to force these spells. All right, especially when I'm laning with something like an IO, I'm going to have significantly more mana in particular than usual. And so you'll see, I just kind of go aggressive on our level 2 timing. Look at the damage. The Bane kind of hesitates because he's like, the obvious play is to sleep me, right? But he kind of hesitates, which I actually thought was a mistake on his part. But it makes sense that this would happen because, like, I'm kind of just running through the creep wave, running at this Quap on the level 2 timing. It ends up going extremely well. So, like, this was super net positive for us overall. And it just goes to show, like, a lot of the time when you're thinking about Dota as a game, you can't always look at it as, like, an equation, right? Because if you do, you don't factor in human error. And you also don't, like, often you're just gonna miss most factors. You know, you're gonna miss most of the factors anyway. And skipping ahead now, you're gonna see that basically because we just took this trade prior, now we can win the trade. And this was like a very theoretically dangerous play. Why? They're both level 3, we are just barely level 3. Honestly, I think a lot of people would argue we should just let this wave die, like these 2 creeps or 1 creep for that matter, and then we go. We just go anyway because tag team, I mean, it spikes really hard. It more than doubles. It's really significant. But we go in anyway. The trade ends up going well. Good unsleep from my IO. The Quap kind of messed up. And we end up chasing her down as well and getting a double kill. I rush boots. I really like doing this with IO. Especially with Tusk. It's just like, you just have so much chase potential and you can really play your spikes. Either way, really, really good trades for us. You can see though, one thing I still wanted to show, even though I'm ahead on net worth, you'll actually see that later in this lane, I'm going to fall behind. And I just want to stress to you guys the importance of good CS, as I'm going to skip ahead real quick. Yeah, so at this point in the lane, it's 6 minutes in, and my CS is horrendous. It's so bad, dude. I have 18 at 630. I want to have around 30 at this point, optimally, and I have 18. The Quap is 26, right? So I'm getting annihilated. I have by far the lowest CS as a core. I felt quite bad about it this lane. We were fighting quite a bit, but that shouldn't be much of an excuse. I will say that my gameplay is shutting down the Quap very hard. You can see I'm ahead of her, even though I'm like significantly down in CS, I'm ahead of her because of the kills and because of the regen I'm forcing them to buy. So like, I'm not like super mad about this. On top of that, IO's game is really good. And Bane's game is he's pretty poor because he has to spend so much regen trading. And this is kind of the advantage of like an IO Tusk lane. You want to fight constantly, right? If you're not fighting constantly and trying to play your spikes, it's just not good because Tusk is not some mid to late game dominator. He's mediocre at best, I would say. Your biggest power spike is definitely the laning stage, in my opinion. Either way, at this point in the lane, the Quap gets completely kicked out. I just want you guys to see what we do here. So as the lane is going on, right, we're kicking out the Quap. I maybe could have tried to snowball reader, but after I kick her out, look what I do. I instantly start aggro denying. I don't even look to CS. I just deny. And the IO does it as well. This guy's really high rank. He actually made the lane very easily. His positioning on this IO was so good. I'm not just saying that. Like, if you want to watch this match ID, I guess here it is. Pause the video, type it in. His positioning in the lane was so good, dude. It was so good. And you could just tell because he constantly was making them overextend, and it really made a difference. But I tried to keep the lane back because basically when we're winning like this, we want to try to keep the lane back. Unfortunately, we had a few too many creeps, so we couldn't really push that idea too hard, but you know, don't worry, speed Dota with the greatest shards of all time, so it doesn't matter. And the courier snipe on Boots. Oh, that's freaking huge, dude. Boots. I tried to just one tap him, but yeah, the Boots is freaking massive. Now, either way, I'm 2 levels up on this Quap, which is, you know, obviously a huge deal. Like, it's freaking massive, and you'll see why it's a huge deal because we one tap her from full. Pretty good. And now you can see the Quap's game is griefed. The IO has like the same net worth as the Quap. You love to see it. You love to see it. Okay, we didn't end up killing the Bane, but yeah, just so much pressure, just completely forcing them out of the lane, never letting them lane. And you can see my net worth isn't that good. Like, I think a lot of people look at kills and they think like, oh, kills are the best way to snowball your game. They're not, guys, okay? You have to keep in mind, there's 2 ways to snowball the game. You get like 6, 7 kills, which is like extremely extreme. First blood is quite important, which I don't think we got. I think they got it on IO. I don't remember. But kills are not as valuable as you think for net worth. For instance, look at this CK, okay? He's 1-1, right? This is obviously not as good as 3-0 and 2. Okay, I think we can all agree on that. However, he has 49 CS, which honestly isn't even that high. You can see compared to this Underlord or the mid heroes, which is why, dude, if you're a mid lane player, please learn to just get high CS. So many mid players are so far behind the meta. It's honestly sad. But either way, my CS being so low, like ridiculously low, this is probably the lowest CS I've had in like, I don't know, 100 games as a core. But because of that, you know, my net worth is a bit lower. Yes, we keep killing the Quap, so it's kind of making up for it. And like, this is sort of the game plan, but it's a little bit too extreme. Either way, at this point in the game, let's get into an upcoming team fight. So I got relocated in top. The original initiation didn't go too well, but we continued chasing. You know, the fight looked like it could turn around. Honestly, here I made a bit of a mistake. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I roll onto this Quap and I wasn't watching my cooldowns because I roll onto her with the tag team on cooldown. I should have just waited for tag team to come up because if I don't have tag team, I shouldn't roll on her because I can't one-shot her. Thankfully, her blink, I think, is level 1. So yeah, it was still off cooldown, and I end up just chasing her down, but it was definitely a bit of a risky play. From there, I make the good decision to kite out to the left, and this prevents me from tanking a full Omni Slash, as well as the follow-up spin. So that one step to the side is like freaking massive. That's why this game's so great, guys. That one step to the side makes me take very little damage. I end up getting chased here, and because of that step to the side, I have this, obviously, I would already be dead, but I don't. I have this 21. I completely bait them in with it, right? You always want to try to use your wand close to as late as possible. Not really as late as possible because there's a good chance you'll mess up and die, but I use it extremely late. This causes them to chase, and because of my extremely high HP pool and this wand, I'm able to get off my roll. He thought I guess the Underlord thought my roll was on him and not Chug. So I get that off, I get healed, and I'm able to stay alive. On top of that, because I stay alive and because I bait them in, we end up killing off the Underlord and the Bane as well, making for a very good engagement. And honestly, at this point in the game, my priority was on playing basically as a position 4, which sounds insane, but if you pick something like Tusk offlane, you can't really play around like shoving in side lanes. I mean, none of your abilities are good at clearing waves. Tag team is like, okay. You know, it's like, all right. But basically, it's mostly trash, okay? So I see my Kunkka getting gun on top. I had to tank the root to get in range of him, so that was the correct play. I'm able to get off the snowball and save him. I pop my drums as well, which is why I love this item. Look at this movement speed. 500 movement speed. Freaking hasted, dude. The Kunkka was also probably like hasted. And so he stays alive. Once again, they overcommit. kind of same story, just good spellcasting, constantly making the enemy team overcommit. Also, really nice heals from the IO. Just allows us, I think we kill the Underlord eventually. Yeah. To get another double kill in a situation where we previously wouldn't have. Next up, let's talk about this following engagement here. Okay, this is maybe the biggest thing I can teach you guys in this entire video that causes me to go 11-0 and not like 5-13. It is initiation range. I have watched multiple low immortal games. Okay, guys, I'm talking 6K games. The initiators are so bad at bringing the fight to their team. What do I mean by this? If I snowball on this quap, for instance, which a lot of Tusks would, because especially when they have punch up, they're going to be like, oh, I can basically kill the quap, which is true. But the problem is, if I go here, it destroys my IO, because he's going to have to walk to here in between 3 heroes. It destroys my ogre in the exact same way, and CK won't be able to do shit, because he's too far away. So I will decimate my team's ability to do anything. So instead of going in here, right, I click tag team, it looks like I'm going to commit, and then I back off. This seems insane, right? You have to look at this and be like, this makes no sense. You're wasting tag team speed. I'd rather waste tag team than run into their backline. I do not want to force this fight, especially considering they still have quap ulti. They have this Underlord hero who's really good at fighting in these areas, and my Kunkka's not even close, right? I don't want to force this fight. I don't have a Kunkka. This guy has no ulti on CK. This IO honestly doesn't have that much at this moment, right? So like, I don't want to force this. So instead we kite out. I punched this Jug. He doesn't end up dying. It was close. Good healing word. Good. I would say okay, quap ulti. But either way, now because we disengage, the Bane overextends a little bit, and we pick him off. So you just have to keep in mind, guys, if you go too far, you not only kill yourself, you kill your whole team. Your role as the initiator is so important. I don't think people understand. Do not bait your team into 5 heroes unless you're significantly stronger or the hero you are initiating on is so important that it is worth potentially sacrificing lives to kill them, right? Maybe, let's say this quap has Kaya-san, she's 8-0. Okay, maybe I will kill myself and my IO just to make sure we can kill the quap. Another play here that I really liked, I thought this one was extremely good. This is a play I've been trying to make a lot more. I think it's one of the highest value plays in Dota that basically no one makes, and I'm not just saying that. Like, I know when I say things like that, it sounds like clickbait, but it's like, in this case, it's just not. So I go on this guy, I run at him, I throw shards, so it really looks like I'm committing, right? And I hit this good shards as well, so it really looks like I'm committing, and then I just back off. The shards also give vision, so I see this Bane TP and the Hoodwink TP, and I'm like, okay, get out, guys, go farm, right? Or, on the contrary, if we don't want to get out and farm because we're already here, well, let's just kill them, right? And now, they think we're backing off, but we have information. We know who's where. And because of that, we're able to get a quick kill onto the Bane, right? So the fight instantly just starts with Bane dying for full. He gets nothing off, which is massive. And that's just something to keep in mind, right? Like, it's one of those things where you can bait rotation so easily. I also would have made that play by myself, I think. Like, even if CK wasn't there, I think there's a good chance, honestly, there's definitely a super high chance I would just roll on the quap anyway, because I know it's going to force those TPs. They're going to assume that I have backup, because like, why else am I rolling out a full HP quap I can't kill? So they're going to TP in. Next up from there, we were able to get a Bane pick off. That transitions into the mid tower. You can see that my team slowly but surely was just sort of looking to close down the map. I'm really punching basically no creeps. I did with the IO here because I get overcharged, so it's like somewhat efficient. But for the most part, I was basically just looking to fight and take over aggressive parts of the map. For instance here, going on this Bane, like, it wasn't really in the intent to like kill him. I mean, like, there's like a slight chance I can kill him. I'm more so just trying to like put my presence on the map and continuously kick people out of areas. Like, me being top threatens out their Jug who was top not too long ago. He was up there farming. It's dangerous for him to farm top if I'm in the area, right? After that, we go for a little Roche play. That was definitely a good call. Pretty simple. Get my Blink Dagger. I was considering going Midas. I like literally, I had a Midas queued up at some point in this game after drums. So I'm like, yeah, I want to scale. You know, I don't think it would have been that bad if this is like a low MR game where like synergy is a very difficult thing to have. But the thing is, like, as you continue to gain rank, guys, I think you can more so play around your teammates. You can see my build is like very team oriented, and I was happy with this. Like, I went drums into Blink. It doesn't let me solo kill people, so it might look weird, The thing is, it's much better if I go, let's say I go Deso, right? I went like Medallion into Deso. This is the one-shot build, right? What's the problem with the one-shot build? All of these early game team fights that I barely live in, I would be dead because I wouldn't have Drum's movement speed from passive and active. I wouldn't have the HP either. I also might not have a wand and a bracer and a neutral item if I'm going like this one-shot build, a neutral item that gives HP. So like, you just gotta keep that in mind. Even in this fight here, look, right? Fight breaks out, I have to kite out, my CK kind of dies, he's in a weird spot. I kind of run in just to sort of protect him, like sort of take some of the attention away. At least that was the idea there. Fight continues to break out, we go on the quap. I definitely should have snowball dodged that hoodwink W. Barely get saved by my IO. Shout out IO. My boy, my man, helping me out. But yeah, it's just like, imagine I don't have that bit of extra HP from Drums and I had a Deso. Think about it, right? Imagine I have Deso. I like, you could be like, oh, but you could have maybe one-shot this guy. It's like, if you're playing with your team, you're gonna be able to kill most people anyway, even if you don't one-shot them. If you do 2/3 of their HP, which like is what this build does. I mean, I kill this Bane from half. I don't need to one-shot people. I'd rather have an aura item. I'd rather have an item that makes me run around the map faster, right? I'd rather have an item that buffs up all my teammates. Like even this IO's movement speed, dude. We are zooming. We're zooming. We're zooming. And yeah, I think I popped the active later on here, but like, it's just so good. It's actually so good. This HP and this movement speed lets us kite out, get to the edge of the fight. I barely live. What HP do I live on before I get saved? Let's see. 190 HP, right? Barely get saved. Because of that, I'm able to get my snowball off. Like, I don't have that if I go Deso. I'm just dead. But I identified kind of my role this game as like sort of the frontliner, the tank, the guy who needs to sort of just be disruptive. We do have a CK, we do have a Kunkka to like quote-unquote initiate, but they're not hard initiators. They're like, Kunkka and CK are often soft initiators until maybe later into the game, but especially CK, he's a very soft initiator. His stun is very slow. Kunkka X combo is very slow. So, you know, I wanted to be the guy who goes in. Okay, next up, let's talk about closing down the map. Every time I coach a 3 or 4K player, basically what you'll see is that the enemy team, or I mean their team when they get ahead, they just run down one lane. This is not how you push an advantage in Dota. Now, I'm going to be addressing a few questions here because I know one of the biggest questions is going to be something along the lines of essentially like, if I want to pressure in the way that you tell me and my team doesn't do it, how do I do it? Well, I'll answer that. Nonetheless, we're going mid here. We're pushing mid. Okay, you know, Jug died. We just picked him off. Pretty normal. I see this Bane quad bottom. I'm like, all right, I'm going to set up. We have reload. My team is very fast. I'm going to set up. So we scan. I find the Bane eventually. Kill this guy. All right. Kill off the Bane. And I kick out bottom. This is important because I knew when I left mid, my team wouldn't get jumped. That's the #1 thing. When I ran bottom, I already knew my team couldn't get jumped based on the fact that Jug was still respawning and how low the tower was. That is #1. You can't just run to the side lane. I knew my team wouldn't get jumped. Then I go to the side lane, right? So I do that. Then I go to the side lane. Okay, that's #1. #2, now I'm going to quickly clear this wave. I cast my snowball, probably even should have casted tag team in all reality, and I book it back to mid. Now, in a lot of 2K, 3K games, Kunkka would be with us and we would look to siege this bottom tower. Why is this kind of shitty? It's shitty because imagine if my whole team was here, okay? This bottom portion of the map, we are all here. What portion of the map does the enemy team get to farm? Literally everything. Literally everything, guys. Why? That's horrible, but that is what most pubs are like. It's awful, but that's the average pub. High mark players, when they get ahead, they gravitate towards mid. Now, here's the part where I answer, what do you do if your team doesn't do it? Just cut the mid wave. It's also very effective. Cut the mid wave. If your team is pushing bottom and you don't think it's going to get responded to, cut the mid wave. Go to here and kill it. This will get you farm and it will prevent this tower from getting pressured like this. Even here, I was like, why is our mid wave here? This seemed like a mistake, to be honest. I felt like maybe Kunkka should be here. I don't know what he's doing. I guess he's jungling or whatever. But the point is, I felt like our mid wave needed to be pushed in. So I run back to mid. I wanted to cut the mid wave. Okay, we ended up smoking. We wanted to look for a pick off. Honestly, we probably still should have tried to cut the mid wave, but either way, good smoke. We get back to our top ward. The biggest thing here is, where's our ward? Right here. I was, you know, this ward is just so broken, dude. Like, I have to play to this ward. We see this Underlord top. I have complete vision of their heroes, so I get to jump the Quap over the Jug, which is 10 times better. And, you know, we get that kill. Also, you know, another God charge from your boy. But, yeah, either way, just over and over again, you're seeing examples of just how to kind of close down the map and play around vision. I'm not just running at the first person I see. If you think that's what I'm doing, that is why most people are not getting to top 100. I've been gaining a lot of rank, and I really do believe a huge portion of it is my ability to just understand, like, what is a good fight, right? What, like, am I baiting my team into an area with no vision? Am I baiting my team into 4 heroes? Most of the fights that I select, not all of them, I'm not some god, you know, not Anna yet, or Thompson or whatever, but the point is, essentially all I'm trying to say, guys, is you have to think that, like, being good is not being fast. It's not one-on-one. People think like, oh, I'm going for kill, and then kill, and then kill, and then kill. That is not being good at the game. Okay, that is not what it is. It's putting pressure, it's going for kills that enable your team to take a good fight, or going for kills that prevent the enemy team from farming, or just going for kills that you can, you know, legit get easily. You know, that's essentially the main vibe of all of this. And finally, we only have about 5 more minutes into this game, but I just want to show you guys another important clip of me cutting mid-wave. So this is kind of what I was talking about with, like, essentially how to snowball the game. So I want to get farmed, and my team is like sort of playing bottomish right now. So look what I do. I run to here, and I don't want to, like, I was a little bit afraid about playing bottom, playing in this area. I mean, honestly, even here, my positioning is kind of risky. Reason why I say that is, like, they have grip, right? And, like, I'm not that close to my team, so it was a bit risky, but I want to cut this mid wave. Now, because I do this, I won't have to go respond to a wave over here at any time. I won't ever have to go here to farm a creep wave, right? If I want to get the farm. And on top of that, you'll see that now this Jug, I think Jug, right? Jug is going to go kill a mid wave here, right? So Jug kills a mid wave here. And now this gives us information, right? We're like, okay, Jug is mid. So that sets up for a potential reload top, okay? After that, now this mid wave is still in, right? We cut the mid wave again. This IO ends up getting gone on. Imagine if one of my teammates had to run all the way over here to go and get the creep wave. What would happen? What would happen? We would not be able to save this IO or play to this IO. But because we are here, right, we are able to play this IO. We are able to play this area, and we're in position to just burst down this Jug. My whole team is here. I guess this guy's kind of griefing as well, but the point is, you get the gist, right, guys? We're still able to get the kill. We're still able to play with our team, and that is how you play fast. We look for the gaps. You see us diving high grounds? You see us diving tier 2s? No. You see us like playing a hill when our IO gets gone on? Yes. Right? Responding to some hill when we are ahead. Right? Taking back the area after we cut the waves. That is how you close down the match in these games. And hopefully you guys learned a lot. This was a really fun game. I usually don't pick stuff like TUSK offlane because it's honestly extremely risky. If your lane goes meh, the game gets really hard, to be honest. But, you know, that's why I would only pick something like this with IO. I knew I had an IO, so, like, I think originally I picked Mars and it got banned as well, which was pretty funny. Like, I picked Mars because it's like 10 times safer, right? Just better team fight, better spikes, better wave clear. The laning is, like, also just still very good. So, like, this TUSK is a bit niche. It is a really good lane. To be honest, I even felt like we sort of got counterpicked in lane, but it don't matter. It don't matter. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.